It's Seasons Saturday. Through November, I'll be taking a walk through Variety Films' Seasons disc collection, beginning with New Hampshire. The pre-show on this disc begins with a 10-minute showcase of a 3D museum in Littleton, New Hampshire, a town of about 5,000 people. It was a Hollywood of 3D stereoscopes for about 40 years in the late 19th century. The curator points out a kind of irony that the VR headsets of today are in a way a full circle to the beginnings of photographed entertainment. It's always a pleasure to see the old photographs on the 3D TV screens, but I especially enjoyed seeing the light reflections off the displays in stereo, a quirk of natively shot 3D that is sometimes intrusive, but worked like a kind of fairy dust on these shots. Outside of the program, there's extensive extras showing us a variety of museum exhibits in tasteful stereo. This shows us that 3D has a long history. On to our feature presentation. All I really know about New Hampshire is from Breaking Bad, where it was depicted as a Siberian wasteland Walter goes to hide out in. Here, we get to see a more nuanced side of things, as the title implies, following the landscape through the seasons of the year. This isn't a travel log. It is not a guided tour. In fact, there's really no narration. Buildings or even people are rarely seen. This is a video picture show to ease the senses and relax the mind. This calls for a special state of mind. You have to want to be relaxed to enjoy this movie. The 3D pictures are fantastic, coming out of the screen at every opportunity. It may seem incredible, but that is actually quite rare in 3D cinema. In my earliest reviews, I openly wondered why in Hollywood movies you'd often see black bars of various size on the vertical edges. It was actually Variety Films that clued me in that they were the result of moving the entire frames to ensure nothing ever came out of the screen. You see, decades ago, a writer decided that it was a rule that anything that leaves the screen should never be cut off by the edge of the screen. And if you take a look at any regular film, you may notice that thanks to gravity, pretty much everything is connected to something else. It's unnatural to have an object disconnected from its surroundings. So a true textbook pop-out shot is quite rare. This old Canon is an example of something that might qualify because the cutoff portion is behind the screen. Of course, this is a Variety Films presentation, and there's a different philosophy at play. We get a variety of shots that roll into our lap without regards to cut lines, which are easily accepted by a willing viewer. Now, I'm guessing New Hampshire connects to the ocean. There's some very nice close-ups, bringing these shells into our laps. When I was young, a friend described his first time seeing the ocean as the most magnificent golden experience. Myself, when I eventually got around to visiting, I just found it smelled like rotten fish and diesel fuel, and I went home. To each their own, I guess. Here is a very nice shot showing the white snow over a dark mill. If your machine allows it, this is a good moment to play back in slow motion. The flakes take on the appearance of stars, perhaps seen by a god's point of view. Seasons New Hampshire turns out to be a rather beautiful presentation, and with apologies to Jonathan, I kind of expected an earnest but amateur presentation. Aside from an occasional wobble-prone pan, I found this a tasteful and enjoyable film with nice choices that bring out magic in the mundane. To a certain extent, watching this brought to mind when they focused the old Hubble telescope on a black and empty area of space and discovered it to be absolutely teeming with activity. It shows us we can look at things or we can look into them.